Meanwhile, I read that Trump is weighing an executive order that would reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug. His staff told him that weed makes people eat too much, take naps, and watch TV for hours. Trump was like, oh, so it has no effect? You know.
That's top flight network comedy right there. That Trump, who's up 21 hours a day working. Everybody knows it. It's right out there with the timestamps on it on social media and so on. Yeah, he's a real slacker, that guy. They're all very severely mentally impaired Democrats. They're SMIDs. Severely mentally impaired Democrats. The Smidleys. Yes, sir. And a very good and happy Tuesday to you, and welcome back once again. We continue to be reached at 888-630-9625. And with the Rob Reiner double homicide, Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner having been murdered allegedly by their own son, who is in custody, in prison, in jail, on suicide watch, and probably no video cameras working, and get the Jeffrey Epstein treatment when they put you on suicide watch in jails. But Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle, close personal friends of Barack Hussein Obama and Big Mike, Michelle Obama, and they were supposed to be getting together on Sunday night when the Obamas learned that the Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle had been murdered, allegedly by their own son, Nick. But you do have to take a close look and see if Hillary Clinton was around anywhere, because there are Democrat Party ties, and you got slash throats and untimely killings and all that. So you definitely have to check and see if Hillary was around. So I want to. That's a pretty crazy thing, and it does turn out that President Trump was right, and that Rob Reiner had a very severe case of Trump derangement syndrome, and appeared on many television shows on left-wing networks and so on to talk about how Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy and to our nation, and we're going to be, what did he say, authoritarian, or words to that effect, and because Trump is so bad, and it's a threat and danger. And then Rob Reiner did, I don't know what, bought another bag of crack or something, but never mind that. So you got that whole crazy thing, and then Michelle Obama on Jimmy Kimmel last night saying, oh yeah, we were going to be having, she didn't say dinner, they were just going to play pinochle or mahjong or something late at night with the Reiners, the Obamas and the Reiners. It's a very small circle fest in a hot tub of Democrats. Hollywood, Washington, what's the difference, honestly? They used to say that Washington is Hollywood for ugly people. That's what the Hollywood people used to say. And then the Washington people responded by saying, and Hollywood is Washington for stupid people. So that was the quid pro quo that they had going there. That they say Washington is Hollywood for ugly people, and then Washington people say Hollywood is Washington for stupid people. Because it's a little crosstown rivalry, something like that going on. So we have that. We also had the terror attack in Australia, where a whole lot of people were murdered and a whole lot more were wounded by two Muslim men with rifles who wanted to gun down all the people because Hanukkah was starting, and people were celebrating the start of Hanukkah, and that's a Jewish holiday, and the Islamists wanted to murder all of the Jews because they're Jew murderers, and that's the thing about them. So the massacre there, a terrible, horrible thing. And you got a left-wing prime minister. We talked to our unofficial Australia correspondent, Jason, yesterday on the radio, and there are updates today. They've got this prime minister, Anthony Albanese, and he's a lefty. He's a big lefty, and he just wants to Islamists attacked Jewish people on the beginning of Hanukkah, the Hanukkah massacre. It's time we take away your guns. Oh, okay. You stupid people have the same answer to everything, don't you? You're incapable of learning because you're lefties. It's pretty amazing stuff. But here is the Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, yesterday with an update as of yesterday on what happened there at Bondi Beach on the greater Sydney Harbor. I've been to Bondi Beach, been to walked across the big Sydney Bay Bridge, the big coat hanger and all that stuff. And it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It really is. And then the jihadis show up and start gunning down all the Jews and everybody else. They killed, I guess there are 3 little children. They killed one 10-year-old girl, and 3 other small children are in intensive care right now. And the left was very excited because a grown man, a Muslim man, attacked one of the gunmen and got him in a neck lock and threw him to the ground and took his gun away. I think it was looked like a 12-gauge shotgun. And he didn't shoot the gunman, who then went back to killing people. He did go back to killing people. It was before he was gunned down by the police much later, but he had gotten back to murdering people. So really the hero of the story, the Muslim man that took away the shotgun, should have shot the guy with the 12-gauge shotgun, blasted him off his feet to take him out of action because he was in the middle of murdering as many people as he could murder in an act of jihad. But never mind that. And the left-wing Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, he was talking to the press yesterday, and he found out a thing or two. Hey, wait a minute. These guys are really jihadis.
It would appear that there is evidence that this was inspired by a terrorist organisation, by ISIS, including the presence of Islamic State flags in the vehicle that has been seized. A part of that radical perversion of Islam is absolutely a problem.
Absolutely a problem. And he's got a funny Australian accent. They had their ISIS flags. Apparently they had traveled to the Philippines to go train with some radical Islamic jihadis on one of the islands in the Philippines. There are a great many islands. And he describes the radical perversion of Islam as a problem. And that's been hotly debated for about 1,000 years now, whether that is a radical perversion of Islam or whether that's just a strict reading of Islam and the Quran and the Hadith, because that's 72 virgins, which is too many, let's be honest. And it turns out, who was it? We corrected that for them years ago because it was Fried Zucchini, Fareed Zakaria on CNN. He's a scholar and revered by the left-wing media. And he explained that if you think that when you commit an act of jihad and murder everybody that you're going to, Allah, and you're going to get 72 virgins, well, Fareed Zakaria on CNN had bad news for the jihad.
The Arabic word for virgin has been mistranslated. The original word that was used in the Quran was the word for raisin.
72 raisins.
72
Imagine
raisins.
the surprise of the terrorist who expected something completely different.
Something completely different. Imagine the surprise of the terrorist. Fried Zucchini said, 72 raisins. Are they sun-kissed raisins? Do they come in those little red boxes that you put in the kids' lunchbox and send to school? The 72 raisins, that's not as good as I had hoped. What happened to the 72 young women that haven't grown mustaches yet? Do you have any of those? Because that's pretty crazy. Then in New South Wales, the city of Sydney, Australia, is in a province. They don't have states, they have provinces. And it's called New South Wales. They abbreviate everything, NSW, the police and all that, New South Wales. But they have a premier, which is like being a governor, except, in a province because of British people and English things. And the New South Wales premier, the governor, is Chris Minns. Chris Minns, talking about the New South Wales police. And because there's been a lot of talk that, like the guy that attacked the gunman and ripped his gun away, apparently there's some video that shows that there is a police officer hiding behind a car. And he's got a pistol, presumably, hiding behind a car while the nice man was attacking the gunman and taking his gun away from him because he's one of the good guys. But the New South Wales premier named Chris Minns.
The New South Wales police acted with bravery and integrity. They didn't take a backward step. They engaged the gunman on the footbridge with handguns. The offenders had long-range rifles, and New South Wales police officers were responsible for killing one of them and shooting the other one and as a result, saving many, many people's lives. Now, there are 2 officers in critical care in New South Wales hospitals at the moment. They weren't shot in the back as they were running away. They were shot in the front.
They were shot in the front. And look, that's actually fair. You got 2 grown men with combat-style assault rifles, and you have police officers running in, and apparently not all of their police officers carry guns because they want to be British or something. But the ones that do have pistols, and if you've got, let's say, a Glock 17, as the police carry here, for example, a 9mm pistol, and you're running into a hail of gunfire from 2 rifles, 2 grown men, up on a concrete bridge, which provides considerable protection from bullets from a 9mm pistol coming from a low angle. Running at, if you've got a 9mm pistol and you're running at 2 gunmen with rifles, you're at a distinct disadvantage. It's true. And the premier, Chris Minns, wanted to point out that 2 of their police, are in the hospital in critical condition, and they were, as he said, shot in the front, not in the back, while running away. It's kind of a big deal. And it is, I know it'll be reviewed forever, and it probably should be, and they should look at a whole lot of things. And in fact, there are some that I want to get to now. There is a woman who is a scholar on these matters, and she's now with the International Women's Forum. She's Dr. PhD. Her name is Kanta Ahmed, and Qanta Ahmed. Dr. Kanta, and I've seen her before. She's a very smart woman. She was on the television in the 5 a.m. hour this morning.
The warning signs that have been missed have been the 2 years of lionization, tolerance, and celebration of virulent anti-Semitism that's posing as pro-Palestinian advocacy. That has done nothing but empower Islamist ideology and this kind of violence. There's a direct link.
And it is entirely true here as well. She was completely right. Dr. Ahmed was completely right there. This love affair that the left has created all over the world with Hamas, make no mistake, it's with Hamas, a radical Islamic terrorist group that kidnaps, rapes, tortures, and murders on as large a scale as they can facilitate. And the Democrat Party is teaching on college campuses, bringing in these radicals from the Middle East to teach the kiddies to chant from the river to the sea, which means wipe Israel off the face of the earth and kill all the Jews in it. Dr. Ahmed was talking about it, and say, hey, the Democrats and the liberals in Australia, they say, oh, we need more gun control. That's what we need. What with the jihad and everything, inviting in jihadis from Arab nations, and then they become jihadis. You know what we need to do? We need to ban guns. We need to take away the freedoms and liberties of the honest, God-fearing citizens that aren't jihadis. Dr. Ahmed.
More than gun control, we need ideological control, and we need real deterrence and criminalization of virulent anti-Semitism. We get a free pass because of free speech in the United States, but this type of speech is leading to lethal genocidal action, and it has to be addressed.
And it has to be addressed. And that's true here. That's true in England. That's true in France. That's true in Germany. They're doing a bit of it in Italy. The jihad is very real. Radical Islam is very real. The murder is very real. The bloodshed is very real. The savagery. And what is under attack is civilization itself. You could say Western civilization, and you'd be correct. But more broadly, all of civilization is under assault. And the left, the red-green coalition, the left is in bed. They've gotten into bed with the jihadis because they're all bloodthirsty ghouls,
72 raisins.
I also have Newt Gingrich for you coming up because Newt Gingrich is always smart and reliable, and he's talking about the global jihad and what we have to do, and do we have to take a look at the First Amendment in the United States of America. Great Newt Gingrich stuff coming up. Let us, in the meantime, let's go to the telephones, Michael, and talk to the great American people. Let's go to Mike calling from Gainesville, Virginia. Michael, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Well, good morning, Chris Plank. Good to talk to you again.
Hey, Michael.
You know, tomorrow's hump day, Chris, and
It is.
this week, Hillary Clinton has checked herself into the hospital because she was supposed to be in a deposition before Congress, but she's gotten a reprieve from having to do the deposition. I think Bill was supposed to do one as well the next day, and Comer has let her delay this until January now, this deposition. But she's put herself in the hospital as some sort of excuse for not having to do the deposition. It was supposed to happen back in September, then it was moved to November. Now it's December. It's dragging this thing out. But it's interesting that
and this is
a strange day if she's face down.
This is about
dry vomit in the hospital.
well, it is Wednesday, and it's a tradition in the Clinton household, of course. But this is about Jeffrey Epstein and the Clintons' involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. And you're right, the Clintons have delayed and postponed and delayed and delayed. Hillary Clinton reportedly in a hospital for a non-life-threatening illness. You got to look out. People all over the hospital might start dying because when Hillary's around, bad things happen. She's in a hospital in New York City and December 15th, that's yesterday, which potentially interfered with a scheduled deposition related to a congressional subpoena investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and the Clintons. And suddenly, oh no, my elbow hurts, my elbow. I'm going to have to go check into a private clinic, hospital in New York that's very exclusive and has actual Hillary coughing stuff. But Mike, are you suggesting that there's something afoot here, something nefarious?
Well, I don't know how being in the hospital means you can't be deposed. I think if they had to depose you, you could still, zoom in or something and be asked questions and have to answer them. Just because you're in the hospital with a non-life-threatening issue doesn't mean you can't be subject to questioning. But, back to Fareed Zakaria, raisin and virgin are only similar words in English, not in Farsi or Arabic.
Is that true? Is that true?
Yeah,
they're not similar words, right? Jasmine is a genius, and she speaks how many? 5 languages? She speaks all kinds of languages. And you speak Farsi. She speaks Farsi and Arabic. Not Arabic. You speak some Afghan tongues. Yeah. Jasmine is a genius. She speaks all kinds of languages, and she knows lots and lots of things about that. But big fun.
Can you confirm what I'm saying, that those two words should not be mixed up, virgin and raisin? Only in English would you do that?
Yeah, only in English would you do that. Yes, she's nodding. Yes, she's nodding in agreement. Yes, she is. Do you speak the languages, Michael?
I do not. But
okay.
I mean...
Well, that's good. So, yeah, Hillary Clinton dodging responsibility, and Bill Clinton, and it's Jeffrey Epstein, and none of the news media care at all.
Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic.
$72 raisins. Imagine the surprise of the terrorist who expected something completely different.
And now for something completely different. A man with 3 buttocks.
Exactly right. The Democrats have taken things that used to be satire, Monty Python and Saturday Night Live when it was funny, and they've converted the satire, the comedy, into their politics for the 21st century. They are unwell, very unwell. Yes, indeed. All right, I'm going to get to Newt Gingrich in just a moment because he's talking. We're going to have to look at the First Amendment. If the Democrats, what was the name of the Muslim guy they had at Columbia University who was teaching? He lied on his visa application, and then the Democrats fell in love with him, and they all wanted to date him, and he's teaching the college kids to chant from the river to the sea and globalize the Intifada. And yeah, Mahmoud Khalil, that was him, Mahmoud Khalil. The Democrats love the jihad. It's kind of peculiar, but bloodthirsty ghouls like bloodthirsty ghouls. Misery loves company. Let's take a phone call, Michael. Let's go to Danny, calling from Washington, D.C., which is our nation's capital. Danny, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris. Good morning. You know, with what happened in Australia and obvious anti-Semitism, these ne'er-do-wells we need gun control. We need gun control. No, what we need is for you to do your job and prosecute these crimes that are commissioned with a handgun or a rifle. I think back, it was in the late 90s maybe, some of the owners of like most of the cable magnates wanted to televise executions. And that got shot down. But, the District of Columbia, for instance, I think it was either 63 or 64, they got rid of the electric chair. But being convicted of rape in D.C. was the death penalty. My uncle was a D.C. cop. So, I mean, I was a very young kid in the early 60s because I was born in 61, but he was born in the 30s. So he knew. But they're always talking about gun control. Gun control is hitting what you aim at.
You're right.
If you kill somebody in the commission of a crime, whether it be a felony or a misdemeanor, and you use a gun to do it, you should be executed once you're tried and convicted. I mean, folks who have legally been bestowed with concealed carry privileges, you've got the USCCA out there saying, you know what, hey, listen, just because you think you're defending yourself doesn't mean that's it.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
could be in a lot of trouble for using your gun and so on and so forth. Well, then why aren't these illegal gun owners facing the same thing? Do your job, prosecute these crimes to the full extent of the law, but don't give away what you're getting ready to do. I mean, Judge Pirro, God love her, she goes, we are going to seek the death penalty in this case. Don't play that card. It gives the defense team enough time to figure out some cockamamie story while their client's an idiot and he can't be executed because he's mentally unstable. Just do it. And if some of these folks are made an example of, some of this crap might stop because I'm not that radical.
Right.
I mean, but I live within the parameters of the law, and I'm not perfect. I've been pinched a couple times doing stupid stuff, especially during the 80s and the 90s, being a DJ in Georgetown. But, look, we had fun. We didn't do anything galactically stupid. And I'm still alive. But, these folks that are killing each other with these ghost guns or guns that had their you have a gun with a serial number filed off? I'm sorry. That's a felony. You're going to jail. But if they find out that you killed somebody with that gun, well, you know what? Now you're going to be facing something more serious. As soon as they start making examples of these people, instead of, well, you're in a sanctuary city now, or you're in a sanctuary county or a sanctuary state where we don't have cash bail, we're just going to put an ankle monitor around you. We're going to turn you loose. Now, just promise me that you're going to be a good little boy or girl and just run along.
Right.
No, it has to stop. And the thing is, for it to stop, it's got to start somewhere.
Well, yeah, enforcing. We have
nobody's
laws.
calling for it.
Well, that's right. We have laws, and as true, Democrats, it's their kids. They're raising the criminals. So when they're arrested for shooting people, they do the bare minimum when it comes to law enforcement and crime and punishment, because the Democrats prefer crime to punishment, and that's why we get more crime with Democrats. And you're absolutely right about enforcing the law and carrying it out. And it's true. You say we're going to go for the death penalty, and it causes the left to go crazy because they love murderers and they don't like the death penalty. Except with abortion, 1 million of those a year they're comfortable with. But if you were to execute 5 murderers a year, then the state would be the bad guy in the story because the left is deranged and insane. But you're right. Publicly, perp walks, prosecute them quickly, hit them with maximum sentences, publicize it so that the next 15-year-old decides, man, I don't want that to be me. Honestly,
exactly.
You're talking about how you got pinched a couple of times when you were DJing in Georgetown decades ago, and you're in your 20s in the 1980s, and you're in your 30s in the 1990s, and all that good stuff, because you told me how old you are. And I knew people, we both knew people that were DJing and doing stuff in in Georgetown in the 80s. There was, as I understand it, there was a lot of cocaine. There was a lot of cocaine back then. And Nathan's, you may remember Nathan's on the corner of Wisconsin.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. And there were a lot of cocaine things going on back there.
Yeah. I was at Winston's in Pall Mall and Crazy Horse, and the best part about those summers was my parents and my younger siblings would go to the beach. So when the bar closed at 1:30, it opened in my backyard 2 miles away up on the boulevard because I had a pool. So
a pool?
It was
That's nice.
Controlled chaos, to say the least.
Wow.
But the thing is, it's in order for it to stop, it's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's just nobody. Guys, look, I mean, go out and have fun, but that's not fun. That's dangerous. That's not fun. That's against the law. But, I'm getting sick and tired of hearing people say we need gun control.
Right.
Again, gun control is hitting what you aim at. What you need is gun safety, and you need, firearms classes and stuff like that.
Right.
But in order to do that, you have to be a registered owner of such.
Right. That's right.
So therefore, if you make a ghost gun, you know what? That's illegal manufacture. You're going to jail. That's almost like trafficking.
Yeah, and
it's just, they got to start. They got to start doing things the right way and stop all this nonsense.
Well, that'd be a good idea. I'm in favor of that. And we
common sense prevails.
Common sense isn't, right, as one of our sayings.
No. It's a curse for us because we have to deal with those who don't have it and don't know what it is.
It is. It can be definitely a curse having common sense. You're afflicted with common sense at this point in our history, and the left, they are not afflicted with common sense. They're not bothered by any of this. But that's. I bet we'd have a lot of stuff to talk about, Danny, over a beer, because I spent a certain amount of time in Georgetown in that time frame too. We'd probably
that would be a hoot.
Know some people
we'll
in
have
common.
To set that up sometime.
Brent Woodall was doing DJ stuff and playing live music and all that good stuff. But Danny, fun call, good attitude, and you're right. We have to start enforcing law. And that when it comes to radical Islamic jihad, we have to start paying attention. You know what happened in Australia after these two Muslim men went to the Philippines to train with a radical Islamic group and then came back to Australia. One of them, an immigrant, the father, an immigrant to Australia, he was shot and killed by the police during the attack, and his son, who was actually born in Australia but radicalized probably by his father, doesn't really matter by whom, but if you want Australia to remain Australia, you want people to be able to go to the beach and gather in large numbers. The Israelis wanted to go to a concert and gather in large numbers when the jihadis attacked them on October 7th and perpetrated one of the great massacres since the end of World War II, certainly of Jewish people. And then you go to the beach because Hanukkah is coming along in Sydney, Australia, and a couple of Muslim men show up and start gunning everybody down, and they kill a Holocaust survivor. And do you see the Holocaust survivor? He was shot because he dropped to the ground with his wife, and they're in their 80s, and he used his own body to shield his wife from the gunfire, and that's when he was shot and killed by the jihadis. And if you want more of that, then do what liberals are doing and create Minnesota as a hotbed of Somali criminality and tribal warfare, and from election day to the jihad, when the jihad explodes. And Christmas is coming, so be on the lookout for the jihad and for the leftists, because, again, the FBI broke up a cell of leftists in California with this crazy lefty group that was planning on bombing at least 5 different locations on New Year's Eve, and then one of their cohort was going to bomb New Orleans on New Year's Eve. And they're not doing it in the name of jihad. They're doing it in the name of the left, because the left is, if anybody's more dangerous than the jihadis, it's the left, and it's the Democrat Party. But these people of the Turtle Island Liberation Front made me laugh out loud. Far left, anti-American, pro-Palestine, anti-capitalist left-wing group, and they're planning on bombing everybody. The left, I got to tell you, they shouldn't be allowed to vote. They shouldn't be allowed to fly in commercial airlines. They certainly shouldn't be allowed to own firearms. if you're a registered Democrat, the world should be very different for you because you people, I got to tell you, and they have the Turtle Island Liberation Front. That reminded me of the Monty Python. Remember the Monty Python thing? The Turtle Island Liberation Front is kind of funny, except they're serious, and they really think that they're part of a radical left liberation movement, and they should get 100 years in jail. And what Danny was talking about there, honestly, and these people, what do they call themselves? The Brotherhood of the Black Lotus or something, because they're completely insane. But these lefties are as dangerous or more dangerous than the jihadis. And we do have to start enforcing law, and that means immigration law and not allowing radicals to come into the United States on phony student visas and take up residence at American campuses in New York. Now, we had, globalize the Intifada is what we saw at Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia. And you know what we saw in New York? We collect the audio and we keep the audio. And this is what the radicals in New York are teaching a generation of young white Americans, privileged, largely Ivy League, college-educated white liberals. And here they are. Globalize the Intifada. Yeah, globalize the Intifada, because globalize the Intifada. And they're out in the streets of New York with their idiot drums there. Some idiot always has a drum. And they're globalize the Intifada, which means kill all the Jews everywhere in the world.
Intifada, Intifada. Long live the Intifada. There is only one solution.
There's only one solution, Intifada revolution. These people call themselves liberals. They say that they're liberals. They couldn't be less liberal. It's like the Nazi Germany saying that they're liberal, which a lot of them probably thought they were. And again, these 4 defendants arrested for alleged anti-capitalist, anti-government bomb plot to bomb U.S. companies on New Year's Eve. And that's a pretty crazy one. And they're the Society of the Black Orchid or whatever they are. They're the left, and they've been the founders of all the terrorist groups in the history of the United States. Minor detail in the scheme of things, but the Democrat Party. The Turtle Island Liberation Front. Again, Monty Python, up the yin-yang, but they're not funny. They want to murder people and blow people up. The Turtle Island Liberation Front.
Are you the Judean People's Front? F*** off. What? Judean People's Front. Well, the People's Front of Judea.
See, they know the difference. That's not the Judean People's Front. They're the People's Front of Judea. And the Democrats are really mentally ill. I think every Democrat is mentally ill. Southern California, the Turtle Island Liberation Front. And the Turtle Island, I looked it up. Wait till I explain it with the Turtle Island Liberation Front, what they're named for. It's kind of funny, but we should really bring in helicopter gunships and just level their homes. Maybe AC-130s. You ever use the AC-130? They're very effective. Very effective. Did you know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier is finally available, and it builds on the incredible success of the previous generations, which had already earned them thousands of 5-star reviews on Al Gore's amazing internet. This new Thunderstorm uses 2 technologies that studies have shown help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses floating in the air that your family breathes. Also removes dust and pet dander and smoke and a whole lot more. And it gets rid of any stinky odor. That's right, the Thunderstorm will help get rid of any stinky smell, guaranteed. Talking about odors from kitty litter boxes, trash cans, cigarette smoke. Liberals are no match. Musty basements, No match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Right now, you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack. Come on, Christmas time is just around the corner. And it's a whole home protection. You can give one as a gift. Give one to your kid. Put one in your basement, your teenager's room, in your family room, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com, EdenPureDeals.com. Use the discount code CHRIS3, CHRIS and the number 3 to save $200 on 3 thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Yeah, I still have Newt Gingrich coming up talking about the jihad and the First Amendment.
The only people we hate more than the Romans are Judean people. And the people's front of Judea. We're the people's front of Judea. Oh, I thought we were the popular front. People's front.
I got to give myself a little more time for Newts, for the Newtmobile, and because he's great. Also, here's a good headline out of Los Angeles, California, KTLA. Headline is, Gunmen Shout Free Palestine at Jewish Family, Open Fire on Home. Open Fire on Home. And they're shouting free Palestine because the Democrat Party is fueling the jihad in the United States. They're the left, and they're not on our side. But I've got, I want to share this story with you because it's kind of a wild story. A Jewish family in San Bernardino County refusing to let what police are investigating as a possible hate crime by a trio of suspects who opened fire on the home dampened the Hanukkah message of bringing light to the world. The frightening December 12th incident, that was my birthday, played out around 8 p.m. when the homeowner, Roger Cohen, and his son, John Paul, were about to leave their Redlands home. Roger and John Paul encountered 3 suspects, 2 women and a man, in a 4-door sedan. He was holding whatever it was toward me, but he chose to yell at me. He said, "Free Palestine." Then he used the N-word. Looking back and realized that his hand was likely on a gun. See, and then, then they opened fire on the house because Jewish,